Oh boy, time for my favorite Halloween pastime! Trying to see if I'm dead inside by using this magic 8-ball. Fuck you, eyeball! Honey, I'm home! Oh, what is this? Oh boy, it's a package from the middle of nowhere! Can't wait to see what Courage the Cowardly Dog sent me! Back in the late 80s, an inventor by the name of Tom Quinn was up in the air on his private airplane when an idea struck. He envisioned a motion controller that would be used for pilots to take control of their planes more effectively. He wrote out patents for his idea, and 10 years later in 1999, it was finally approved. Sadly, time took its stroll, and the aircraft industry became something different than it was back in the 80s. So Quinn set his sight on another industry: video games. Quinn first met with Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer, who applauded the idea, but when he met with the Xbox team, they had the opposite output. And by the opposite output, I mean downright rude, to the point an Xbox executive had to apologize to Quinn afterwards. Quinn's next target was Sony, who had their PS2 out at the time. When Quinn met with Ken Kutaragi, the moment Quinn started talking, Ken shut his eyes, and after Quinn finished, Ken said, "Can you produce this for 50 cents? Yeah, that was off the list then. The only option left for Quinn was, of course, Nintendo. At the time, Nintendo had their newest console, the GameCube, out with sales still not doing any better. The GameCube had a bunch of amazing first-party games, but lacked in the third-party category. And to top it all off, both had online functionality, and the PS2 had a DVD player. So Quinn pitched his idea to Atsushi Asada, where 20 minutes in, Asada stopped Quinn in his talking and asked to speak with the 8 other executives in the meeting. The debating escalated into arguing until Asada barked something and the executives zipped their mouths shut. He turned to Quinn and told him that they would license his patents and buy a part of his company. Nintendo put all their hopes and dreams on this one idea. The result? Oh shit! To say the Wii was a success would be a no-brainer. Selling 101 million units, the Wii catered towards people of all ages and demographics, thanks to its motion control usage, and has amazing games such as Super Mario Galaxy, Donkey Kong Country Returns, Kirby's Return to Dreamland, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, Mario Kart Wii, Animal Crossing City Folk, Klonoa, Elebit, and of course, the Munchables, the game where they consume everything. Oh no, not my giant Doritos and Mountain Dew. But thanks to the heavy install base, the Wii found itself a lot of the time with shovelware, something we've talked about previously on this show. And horror had to be one of the categories to also come to the Wii, because of course it had to. So because I'm cursed to play Wiggle Waggle Simulator, we're going to look at some Wii horror games. But before I start, I must say this. Zuzu Pets featuring the Wild Bunch for the Wii is fucking garbage. Cursed Mountain is a horror game combining survival horror and action-adventure developed by Sproing Interactive and Deep Silver Vienna, and published by Deep Silver. Development of this game lasted for 2 years and was shared between various external studios, including industry veteran Bob Bates as the scriptwriter and former Rockstar Vienna staff. The game was released August 25th, 2009 in America, September 4th of the same year in Europe, and October 15th, again of the same year, in Australia. The story follows the main character, Eric Simmons, going on a dangerous journey climbing up Mount Comalonzo to find his missing brother while fighting ghosts and shadow monsters across the mountain. So what's the game like? The gameplay is unresponsive and broken. The many times I have tried to do a single attack, it went ahead and did something else completely. To move your character, you move the D-pad and the nunchuck's analog stick, obviously. But in order to attack an enemy, you swing the Wii remote, which results in the game sometimes giving you an action you never even fucking made. This also has to be done with climbing, which makes this game frustrating and annoying. But we haven't talked about the game's big feature, the third eye. The third eye can also let you see some certain hidden symbols in the environment to solve various puzzles. Take, for example, this puzzle. You go in thinking, this seems safe, only to die immediately. Oh, and did I mention what happens if you die? Coming back to this section, you turn on your third eye and oh, for fuck's sake! The third eye is also used to see the ghosts clearly and attack them with a pickaxe using a ritual object by doing shooter tactics. The pickaxe can also be upgraded with new ritual objects, which can either increase or decrease the power and type of ammunition. We later learn in the story that Frank, Eric's brother, is alive, and was working with Yogini or Master Practitioner Jomo Menmo's apprentice Mingma to prepare to climb Comalonzo to try and receive a Terma artifact for wealthy expedition organizer Edward Bennett, as he fit a translated prophecy about the Terma's retrieval. He had not completed the necessary 12 ritual walks before the ascent as well, so Mingma and Frank went through a series of rituals as a shortcut. But Mingma and Paul had fallen in love, shredding apart Mingma's sacred status. Bennett, spying on this, runs after Mingma, attempting to flee after Frank got angry and murdered Mingma in a fit of rage. So Frank, in an act of desperation, decided to climb the mountain instead rather than repeat the process. This unleashed ghosts from the Bardo, a transitional realm between life, reincarnation, and nirvana, and cursed the expedition. Eric confronts Bennett and Paul with the evidence, and as a result, Bennett turns into a demonic monster and kills Paul. After Eric kills him, Eric finally reaches the summit of Mount Comalonzo and faces the physical incarnation of his inner demons. Don't ask. Killing this thing, Eric purges the curse with the Terma, restoring Palden Lahamo, the goddess of Comalonzo, and reviving Frank. But Frank, having seen his own inner demons, decides to die and reincarnate. Eric returns down the mountain, leaving Frank's body and the Terma on the summit. Cursed Mountain is a game with a nice atmosphere and narrative inspired by Tibetan Buddhist folklore and Himalayan survival stories, but falls flat in the gameplay department. Even though I have no idea if this is in that kind of folklore, the motion controls really made this game unplayable at times, and made the game frustratingly broken. It's an okay game that made me angry most of the time with the controls more than anything else, and a perfect example of how motion controls can potentially ruin a game if handled wrongly by the developer. Juwon the Grudge is a survival horror game developed by Feel Plus and published in Japan by AQ Interactive, and in North America and Europe by Xseed Games and Rising Star Games respectively. This game is based on the Japanese horror flick of the same name, which is the third installment of the Juwon franchise, written and directed by Takashi Shimizu. Juwon the Grudge was also the first film in the series to be released theatrically, as the first two movies in the series were released as direct-to-video movies. Juwon eventually made it to the West with a Western remake called The Grudge, also directed by Takashi Shimizu, and starred Sarah Michelle Gellar, Jason Behr, and the most famous one of all, Bill Pullman. I decided to watch Juwon the Grudge, and afterwards, I guess you could say I'm set for life. The film follows a social worker named Rika, who investigates the home of the Tokunaga family, where strange phenomena occur, most notably the ghosts of Kyoko, a long-haired girl, and Toshio, a young boy who screams like a cat. The movie would then spawn countless sequels and, as mentioned, a video game. The game involved Takashi Shimizu and was codenamed Feel until being revealed to be based around the movie at E3 2009. The game was released on July 30th in Japan, October 13th in the Americas, and October 30th in Europe. How was the reception? You know, it was fine. Oh. Live action footage of the house that's cheaply made? Cool. I'm a man and a Pisces. Why do you need that? Finally, we begin the game. The first level is about a young girl named Erica, where her dog Ivy runs off into this abandoned factory, and Erica runs after her only for Kyoko to lock her inside. You use the Wii remote to aim the flashlight around and get this. You use the fucking B button to move and turn around. Slowly. Why not use the goddamn nunchuck? Why does it have to be the fucking B button? The game seemed scary at first, but then it just became sudden scary time. This does not feel like the movie at all. In the movie, there was atmosphere, tension, and a feeling of dread. But here, cheap jump scares. 10 out of 10. Whenever you encounter Kyoko sometimes, they have the balls to put into quick time events with the Wii remote. You have to act so quickly to these or else you'll fucking die. And if you die, your stupid ass gets sent all the fucking way back to the beginning of the level. Oh boy, golly gee whiz, it's this fun. I wouldn't be complaining if you didn't walk so fucking slow.
Hurry up, will ya?
This battery bar here is also your health. You need to collect batteries to stay alive. Otherwise, Kyoko grabs you and you're dead. Good fucking god. The sound design is also horrible as the only thing you hear is one sound effect on loop. What about the scenarios? There are 4 of them. The first one is the abandoned factory, where at the end you find this elevator, bring back the power to it, reunite with Ivy, and then lose her again. Second scenario is set in a hospital, and you play as Miki, the mother of Erica, who has been hospitalized for a month. At the end, Kyoko appears and pushes her off a roof. Kenji, delivery boy and brother of Erica, goes to the apartment to deliver a package and Kyoko kills him as he is about to leave. Hiro, father of the whole family and security guard, works on a late night shift at a mannequin factory and gets killed after a quick time chase by turning around at the exit. This all leads up to a secret scenario if you collect all the photo pieces at the house the movie takes place in. Erica dies at the end. Who would have thunk? To sum it up, Juwon the Grudge is not a good game. There's so many more negatives than positives, and it just feels frustratingly boring. So if you're thinking about playing this game, just don't. The House of the Dead Overkill is a first-person rail shooter gun game. God, that's a mouthful. Developed by Headstrong Games, known for Battalion Wars, the original Art Academy, and Reign of Fire, and published by, of course, Sega. Overkill is a spin-off to the House of the Dead series, a non-canon prequel to the original game, and the first game to be exclusively released on a home console. There was also an extended cut version for the PlayStation 3 developed by another studio named Modern Dream, and to be used with the incredible PlayStation Move. Kung Fu Rider, anyone? The game has you take control of 2 characters, Police Detective Isaac Washington and AMS Specialist Agent G. The story is that during the Cold War, the US military was testing a superhuman formula called Formula X. Yes, the letter X, which can turn ordinary people or animals into violent mutants, or in short, zombies. G is sent to a small town in Louisiana in 1991 to investigate a string of sudden disappearances and to locate crime boss Papa Caesar's Pizza. But due to the mutant outbreak, he is forced to team up with Isaac, who is also after Mr. Pizza Man, to avenge his father's death. The chapters of this game play out as movies, set like those old Grindhouse flicks. Isaac is my favorite character due to how many times he's over the top and swears the F word like an AK-47.
I'm gonna rip your motherfucking balls off! Freeze, bitches! How do you say that shit without moving your lips? No motherfucking way, man. I have shown respect, charm, under fucking standing. But that is the last fucking straw.
The controls are fluid in this, and don't act like they have a mind of their own. Handgun games feel like they were a match made in heaven for the Wii. So much that they made a fucking super scope. The game has combos that happen when you kill multiple zombies on the screen, but points can lower if you kill an innocent civilian. The score matters in this game, as having a high score means more currency to upgrade your weapon via the store. That currency can also be used in the store to buy more weapons. Combos can be made by killing zombies without getting hurt once, and power-ups are collected by, well, shooting at them. For example, this one lets you go all Neo. Unlike other House of the Dead games, you can take up to 2 weapons for each chapter, swapping between them to get the best kills. The game takes you to various locations, including a mansion, hospital, carnival, train, swamp, and prison. There's also another character named Varla Guns, a stripper and Jasper's older sister, who also wants revenge on Papa John's for killing her brother. I would go on and talk about the ending, but I'd recommend you try this game out for yourselves, as it's a really fun game, and it's one that should not be overlooked for the Wii. Now it's time to go get some pizza. Okay, I'll stop with the pizza jokes. Resident Evil is okay. If you don't know what Resident Evil is, you must be living under a rock. Resident Evil The Dark Side Chronicles is another light gun horror game for the Wii, published by the Cap of Comms and developed by Javier, who also developed the Umbrella Chronicles, the previous entry to focus on light gun gameplay. Dark Side Chronicles released in North America on November 17th, 2009, 9 days later in Australia, 1 day later in Europe, and January 14th, 2010 in Japan. This game retells Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil Code Veronica with light gun segments. The light gun gameplay feels pretty nice to control, like the House of the Dead Overkill. You reload by shaking the Wiimote and shoot by pressing the A button. The first weapon you have is a handgun with infinite ammunition, but you can also get other weapons by pointing and grabbing them with the Wiimote, such as a shotgun, magnum, or rocket launcher. Dark Side Chronicles also brings the evade move, where you press a single button in time in order to dodge enemy attacks. In short, headshots are made much easier to perform, and you can pick up green herbs to replenish health. There is also a first aid spray in each chapter, and is used up when your health reaches 0, completely reviving you and replenishing your health. Statistics such as how many enemies killed or how many objects destroyed at the end of the chapter determine your ranking for that chapter. After each chapter, you have the ability to upgrade your weapon from power to reload speed. Depending on how you're performing in the game gets harder or easier. For me, I was not doing so well. Another big factor about this game is the ability to play with a friend, so one of you could bitch to the other how bad they were at the game. In addition to retellings of Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil Code Veronica, there is also another scenario named Operation Javier, a prequel to Resident Evil 4. In it, Leon S. Kennedy is joined by Jack Krauser, an American Special Forces operative, into a South American village to find and investigate Javier Hidalgo, a previous drug lord having ties with the Umbrella Corporation. Leon and Jack soon discover the town has undergone a viral outbreak and is now swarming with Zambonis and BOWs, or mutant bioorganic weapons. They eventually find Javier's daughter, Manuela, who joins their party to guide them through the jungle. Manuela later reveals that her father injected the T. Veronica virus, the same virus from Code Veronica. After reaching Javier's mansion and slaughtering thousands of BOWs, the trio encounter Manuela's mother, Hilda, who has now turned into some sort of crab thing? I don't fucking know. Krauser gets his arm severely injured during the fight while Leon dispatches Hilda. Javier merges with another BOW in the form of a fucking flower by the name of V-Complex. Manuela decides to use the powers of the T. Veronica virus, aka firepower, to aid both Leon and Jack in defeating Javier. They successfully defeat him and V-Complex, and the three escape via helicopter. During the escape, Manuela goes, "I don't feel so good," and evaporates into the sunset. You knew I was going to make an Avengers Endgame joke. Meanwhile, Krauser, intrigued by the unlimited power of Umbrella's viruses and him being incapable of continuing his military service, leaves the US government to seek out and find Albert Wesker. Resident Evil The Dark Side Chronicles is a Resident Evil game that is very fun to play, is a long experience to be had, and had some really nice things going in it. But the story makes no sense unless you know the Resident Evil franchise from the back of your hand. It's a game worth trying out if you're a Resident Evil fan. Like me. Alright. Well, let me tell you what the final one's gonna be. Bugs. Escape from Bug Island is a survival horror game developed by the developers of fucking Danganronpa, Spike, and published by Secret Stash Games. Who? Well, only Google can tell. Secret Stash Games is a US publishing label of Eidos Interactive. What? In case you haven't heard of them, Eidos originally started out as Domark, remembered as the publisher for Championship Manager and Hard Driven. Eidos Public Limited Company acquired Domark on September 25th, 1995 with Simus and Big Red Software for £12.9 million, and merged all three companies together to create Eidos Interactive, known for publishing the Tomb Raider games. During the era of the Wii and Nintendo DS, Eidos made their own bargain bin label named Secret Stash Games, which went on from 2007 to 2007, and released a grand total of 7 games. Bug Island was released to the masses on December 2nd, 2006 in Japan, July 25th, 2007 in the United States, and October 26, 2007 in Europe. The day the game was released in Japan, the game only sold 1,934 copies. That was the same day the Wii launched in Japan. This is going to suck, isn't it? The game begins with this intro video that looks as scummy as it can be, and we begin the game with the crew being dumped off at Bug Island, an island inhabited with giant killer bugs. Those 3 people are Ray, Mike, and Michelle, and I have no idea who they are. Let me get the fucking instruction manual. Ah, here we go. Ray is a freshman in college. Although he hasn't declared it yet, Ray has a big crush on his friend Michelle. He also loves to play baseball. Home run this sucker! Mike has been friends with Ray for a long time. A confident playboy, he's hesitant to give Ray a hard time for being inexperienced in love. Michelle is a sophomore, majoring in insect physiology. She has come to the island to work on a report for school. You live in the modern era! You have the internet! And you pass that up for a trip to death? Alright, we're off to a good fucking start. And we get to hear the terrific voice acting.
What do you think, Ray? Huh? Did you say something about Michelle?
So later, Mike says he loves Michelle, and they go on a lovely walk together. But hours later, they never come back, and as a result, Ray goes out looking for them using a stick and rocks. Oh yeah, and he also has a flashlight. Let's just start with the controls. They suck. These controls are the worst I've played in this video. Just to show you an example, just look at this. You fucking kidding me? And the first person controls are extremely difficult to take control of. Welcome to the future of gaming, everybody. Now that the controls are out of the way, Ray goes to fight crickets, roaches, and a load of praying mantises. And fighting them? Again, welcome to the future of gaming. The graphics are bland and boring as it's nothing but brown and gray with no colors as well. And not to mention, There's fog. The game is not an adventure game, as you just walk from your position to the single blinking light on the map. And the enemies are not rewarding to kill, as they don't drop anything that restores your health or anything useful. They just drop these purple crystals that give you a higher score, or by the manual standards, cause something good to happen. Ray, throughout the game, spots these notes from a visitor before the three dorks, and these notes are a sight to behold. Ray later discovers that him, the jock, and the bland girl are not the only ones too stupid to travel to Bug Island. Lynn and Harry are also on the island of killer insects and live in this shack here. Harry says he left his quote-unquote secret weapon in a bag somewhere, and he sends you to go find it. It's an insecticide. I never used it. Coming back from our pointless get, Harry and Lynn are being chased by a praying mantis when— oh shit, it's fucking Donkey Kong! Oh, Harry's dead. Looks like he's not a wizard anymore. Ray now has to fight zombified Donkey Kong with nothing but a rock. Eventually, the zombified Donkey Pong gets pussied by some bugs. For a while, it's just solving a puzzle, killing bugs, blah blah blah. After a goddamn while, we finally get to see what happened to Mike and Michelle. And after walking by giant praying mantises and killer frogs, where are they? Oh no, you should have turned back, you goddamn imbeciles! Hang on for dear life, Mike! Somebody will save you! Well, definitely not her. By the time we make it to the fucking bridge after encountering zombified Jackass Kong again, somebody just drags Michelle away and doesn't even bother trying to save Mike. Mike! Go back to the 50s and 60s with you! Oh hey, a cabin. Let's see what's in here. Amazonian lizard woman? What? 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 After that mistake, we learn that Lynn was saved by Robert, the same guy who saved Michelle. Meanwhile, Ray finds a machete. Finally, something better than a stick. Ray comes across Lynn and Robert, who die. All we have left now are Ray and Michelle. Well, things can't get any weirder, right? I have no words. Michelle, meanwhile, finally finds peace until— oh no! It's zombified Dangy Kangy! We find the temple Michelle was at and see where the title of the game came from. Genius. And after awkwardly walking past zombified Dumbo Kong, Ray finally reunites with his stupid love Michelle. Michelle goes on about the epic movie titled Cave called The Cave of Time. Even Ray agrees it sounds dumb. Insert a fucking escort mission. Every time Michelle walks a few steps, she takes a rest, and if you walk off, you'll get the hell.
Hey! Hey! Hey!
And here is
The Cave of Time.
Woo-hoo. Before Ray and Michelle decide to get out, a tentacle monster comes out and grabs Michelle. And I know what's on everybody's okay, that works. Ray runs like a maniac, gets speed slapped, and pushed by a rock into the
Cave of Time.
And after the "it was all a dream" cliche, we could stop this game from being made? No. Ray tries to stop Mike and Michelle before. This can't be happening. Again? You have to beat it? Twice?! No! At least you could take shortcuts to the next path, but it all still seems just padded in for extra game time. We rescue every stupid character in this stupid game and get a shotgun. which is completely useless! We soon discover that Robert is the author of Michelle's book that she carries around the island and tells everything on the fucking island. You have your book report right there. But no, let's risk all of our lives, play this game twice, and go through stupidity all for a fucking book report! Anyways, Robert reveals that the Cave of Time's tentacle monster releases a gas that mutates everything over time, even humans. But just before we could ask anything, he dies from the gas. Then Lynn said she could call her company's helicopter to get themselves off the island when we could have used it earlier, but no, let's save it till the end, you stupid bitch! And now I have to get clothes for Michelle? Oh my god, why? I got her clothes only to get rewarded with a fuck you. Now here's a scene that was actually scary. Robert transforms into the Fly and becomes the only boss you can actually fight. Oh my god, why or how? After defeating Robert, we get onto the boat and escape into the sunset. Yes! It's over! Finally! And if you think I'm going to get the secret ending, no. Fuck this. Well, that game was shit. Time to celebrate Halloween the right way. Just had my hair cut, and now it's time to look at what the internet has for me this Halloween. Just... what the fuck?